Hi folks, it's Evo here from Thundermist Lure Company. And you know, one of the most frequently asked questions we get on our Thundermist Fishing Tips website is, can you help me with bait casting reels? Well folks, today we're going to do just that. So let's start by taking a look at the two basic type of bait casting reels we've got. We've got a teardrop shaped reel and also a round reel. Now the teardrop actually sits very nicely in the palm of your hand. It's great for all day casting. The round reel, if you get a small one like this one, it's comfortable for casting as well, but otherwise these are better suited for trolling. The next very important thing to consider with bait casting reels is the pound test line that you're going to use. And when you're using bait casters, you want to use heavier line. Ever try using heavy line, like 30-pound test line on a spinning reel? It just comes off like a coil. But bait casters are made and intended to handle heavier line. In fact, if you use thin line, for example like 6-pound test, as it's winding on the reel and as you catch a fish, a little bit of pressure will actually dig that thin line inside the spool and cause an ugly bird's nest. So stick with heavy line, can't go wrong. At a minimum, 10-12-pound test and higher. The next very important thing with bait casting reels is do not overfill the spool. You want to leave about 1/8 of an inch in your spool. You want to be able to see about 1/8 of an inch of your spool. So if you filled it right to the top, you've actually overfilled it. Now this teardrop shaped reel, this reel has two settings. It has a brake setting here, and then it also has a magnetic setting here. And I'll explain what the two differences are between the two because they're very important. Whereas with this round reel only has a brake setting. You could work with either or. And the key thing here is, when you put your lure on, what you have to do is push the button down and that lure should free fall on its own weight. So there we go. And once it hits the water, your spool should stop spinning. So with the brake setting, it's very important that you set the brake to each different lure that you use. And it all goes by weight. And what you want to do is adjust that brake setting so that your lure free falls on its own and the spool stops spinning once your lure hits the water. So when you have it set like that, then you know it's set for that particular lure. If you change lures, check your brake setting again. That's key. So probably the most important thing to consider, folks, when you're casting is that you don't want to whip your lure out there to get your distance. Because what happens is, if you whip your lure's traveling at a certain speed, and then your spool ends up traveling at a faster speed, and you end up with a big bird's nest as a result. So just, and also when you do cast, keep your thumb on the spool just like so. And as soon as your lure hits, you can stop the spool with your thumb. Thumbing your spool is also another very important thing to do, even though you've made all the proper adjustments. If you want to get more distance, rather than whipping the rod, what you need to do is, if your reel has magnetic adjustments, just back off on the magnetics. Go from 7, 8, or 9 down to 2, 3, or 4, and you'll get more distance that way as well. So in a nutshell, folks, use heavier line, don't overfill the spool, adjust your brake with every different lure you put on, and don't whip it. Nice easy cast, and away you go. And as far as rods go, folks, 6.5 foot, 7 foot rod is actually ideal. You'll get further cast by using a longer rod, and it's not too awkward. So I highly recommend about a 6.5 foot to 7 foot rod. And it's that easy. You'll be able to enjoy a great day on the water using the bait casting reel without any trouble at all. One last thing, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to our videos by clicking on the button most likely found right over here, as we have a lot more fish catching action coming your way. And if you haven't yet, be sure to check out our website at thundermistfishingtips.com, as we have a lot more articles there and fish catching advice for you. So until next time, good luck and good fishing.